Hi, welcome to Top Shelf Takes, the only show on the internet that is made up of complete fact and no opinion whatsoever. Today we're going to be talking about the best computer animated films of all time. Alright guys, I'm super excited to get started today. To clarify, we are not including any Disney or any Pixar to make things hard for ourselves because we want to save those for a future game. So this is best computer animated movies of all time, not including Disney or Pixar. My name's Tim, I'm the creator of Famous Secret Agent.
I'm Dylan.
I'm Tommy, resident dinosaur expert.
And I couldn't be more excited to welcome our new guest, also a member of the channel. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Steven. I have been a fan of Top Shelf Takes for such a long time. I'm so glad that you guys are finally having me on.
Absolutely. We couldn't be more happy to have you. But I'm not going to be running this show because we felt it's only appropriate for the best computer animated films of all time. We need a dinosaur expert. So I'm going to give it up to Mr. Tommy Brennan. All right. So we all know the new rules of the game. Tommy's going to act as the judge. He's going to give us each a 30-second intro. We're going to say our pick for the top 6 list of all time. Then we're going to have a 3-minute debate. And at the end of those 3 minutes, he will decide the victor.
And not only am I judge, I'm also jury and executioner. What is your number 6?
All right, for number 6, I included this movie because it's near and dear to my heart, and it gives me the warm fuzzies. I included Happy Feet, starring the penguin Mumble, played by Elijah Wood. That movie also is narrated by Robin Williams. Okay, and Robin Williams he's a motif in my top 6 list. So anything that includes him, there's a pretty good chance that it's on my list. But I just want to point out that the entire premise of this film, we find out at the end, is that a group of dancing penguins convinced the entire human government to stop overfishing.
Steven, you got cut off.
My number 6 pick, it's funny you should mention near and dear to your heart, and it hurts that I can't match you with Happy Feet, but I'm going to counter your Happy Feet with my Shark Tales, Steven. Let me tell you, not only is it a great, wonderful film about trying to find your way in the world and being accepting and okay with who you are, but the journey and showing why you should be accepting of who you are and be able to love yourself so you can love others. And also, he definitely could have murdered that shark.
Funny you should mention near and dear to your hearts, and funny you should mention penguins, because I'm going with Surf's Up for my number 6 pick. A mockumentary about penguins following their dreams, and that happens to be surfing? It follows a young penguin played by Shia LaBeouf and follows themes of making your own name and your own way, even if you come from nothing. It's a story of determination and friendship, and that is a great role model for kids, and adults get great jokes in there too. I yield my time for the arguments.
Well, you got 2 seconds, so you yielding not much.
Happy Feet is the far superior movie over Surf's Up. And
I disagree.
I strongly
disagree.
Happy Feet can make the list.
I think Happy Feet lives and dies on its music, which is inarguably great, but the plot itself is actually really slow moving. I think the plot of Surf's Up is airtight and keeps it going with an amazing cast. Now, look, I'm not arguing against Robin Williams. I love Robin Williams to death, but I can keep naming names of Surf's Up, and I feel like you're dying on the Robin Williams bridge.
I only died on the Robin Williams bridge. I mean, if we're talking about this thing as a whole, first off, I just want to say that I think Shark Tale may be superior just because it has a flawed hero, which I think it just makes it such a better movie, especially for being one that's geared towards younger audiences. I would much rather root for a penguin played by Elijah Wood than a penguin played by Shia LaBeouf.
I gotta agree with you on that one, Steven.
Shia LaBeouf is doing his best, and I'm always rooting for him.
I'm not saying he's not, but there is just something that is so innately lovable about the voice of Mumble and finding your place in that world. And he's also such a courageous character. He swims up for that fish that those birds pull out of the water, and he literally gets dangled like 80 feet in the air by a bunch of birds, and all to get a fish back for his best friend.
I'd argue
Did Shia LaBeouf do that?
I'd argue I have the cuter penguin, though. I got my frizzy-haired penguin over here. I got the rockhopper, which is the actual species title of the penguin. And meanwhile, you got your regular old penguin who's just singing his little song. It's Frodo the Penguin, which I'd rather watch Shia LaBeouf come out and do Holes, but a surfing movie that also happens to be penguins. Shark Tales, all the characters in it are really ugly.
all right.
Here's a judgmental argument, but the working at the car wash sequence in Shark Tale is a better scene than any of the scenes in Surf's Up or Happy Feet.
Right,
I disagree.
That is an iconic scene from the movie. And if we want to talk about main characters, how about the most relatable main character to a bunch of kids trying to find their way in the world than a main character trying to find his way in the world he's living in and teaching everybody that you shouldn't have to lie and pretend to be something you aren't to gain popularity and attention. And actually, that has a negative effect, as we've seen in the movie. And just being accepting of yourself and having a character that you can relate to, having a character that's not all powerful, all for themselves as your little Shia LaBeouf rockhopper.
Shia LaBeouf, Zoe Deschanel, James Woods.
No!
Oh my God.
I have made my decision. And it was solely based off of the sentence, Frodo the Penguin. Which wasn't even Steven's argument. So number 6 will be Happy Feet.
Yeah.
So Tim, you want to do number 5 for us right now?
I would love to do number 5. With number 5, I'm going to come in hot with Kung Fu Panda. DreamWorks gave us Kung Fu Panda and gave us an amazing plot, an amazing cast, Jack Black and lovable characters. It has emotion. It has comedy. It has action. It has everything you could want in a movie called Kung Fu Panda. Also, it accurately portrays another culture without being offensive. It has so many good cast members. Lucy Liu,
And others.
all the others. Seth Rogen.
Time.
This is a little awkward right now. Because I had Happy Feet. I got Happy Feet too. You gotta represent the Penguins and better than Surf's Up.
God damn.
People even care about Surf's Up?
They do.
But so Happy Feet's on the list. I'm happy, and I'm gonna see who Steven got and just back someone else on this round, I think.
All right, for my number 5, it's mostly because I forgot to pick a 6th movie. I only realized I had 5, but I have the Lego Movie because everything is awesome. It is a timeless story about good versus evil, and it's incredible the way that they take so many iconic characters and they fit them into one plot, and they make it a movie about Batman that's not a Batman movie. What? Like, what other movie can do that? I yield my time.
Commence the argument.
Kung Fu Panda needs to be way higher on this list.
Coming right back at you, the Lego Movie needs to be way higher on this list. We are fighting alternate fights, sir. I have some Titans that you're forgetting about. Titans is the word I'd use. And Kung Fu Panda is appropriately placed at a very, very respectful spot at number 5. We have some big movies that are on their way. And Kung Fu Panda is a great story. It's a wonderful movie. It's not as memorable as what's to come.
I kind of agree with Tim. I'm sorry, Steven, but like I want to see Kung Fu Panda on this list, but I'm afraid with some of the higher picks on this one that Kung Fu Panda is just gonna like slip through our fingers. And like, it's a fun, entertaining movie, but some of these other ones on this list I think deserve spots higher than Kung Fu Panda.
I just want to point out the fact that the Kung Fu Panda like has artistic value in addition to like all of this like great story, great action that is giving you, great heart that it gives you. But like the research that went into creating this movie and like the inspiration from watercolor, like Asian art that they put into it, and then the way that it was actually realized in the film, that goes like so far beyond, especially it was released in 2008. You know what else was released in 2008? The Tale of Despero.
So
Did
was
it look like that? No.
Don't act like nothing was coming out in 2008, though. There were a million great films coming out in 2008. Now, let me just say that we're ahead of their time as well. Kung Fu Panda is a great movie. Everything you just listed is very true, but there are ones that define the genre better. When you think of staples of this genre, Kung Fu Panda isn't one of the first ones that comes to mind. It's a
Not on my list.
Okay, but that's a bias. It's a pleasant surprise when you remember it. It's a great time. But I think when you're thinking of the pillars of computer animated films, the Mount Rushmore. Thank you, Dylan.
Do you want the Kung Fu Panda on your Mount Rushmore?
Number 5 is a really good spot. It's a really respectful spot. And
it's second to last.
No, it's not. But anywhere on this list, I've made the argument before, is a great spot because you are in the top 6 list. The Lego Movie has no business being as good as it is. That movie should have been a failure. That movie should have been terrible. And yet, it is a masterpiece. Everything about that movie is so well done and so perfect. You could argue the same for Kung Fu Panda, but the sequels lessen the Kung Fu Panda. The sequels to Lego Movie only heighten it.
So I am putting Kung Fu Panda at 5.
Yeah, I'll take it.
It's on the list, I guess.
It's on the list at 5.
Okay. Number 4, I have a lesser-known film called Kubo and the Two Strings. It is a stop-motion movie. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I love the way that it melds magic with this really cool origami aesthetic. And the tale is absolutely heartwarming. Seeing this young, unexpected hero go on a journey where he gets to reacquaint himself with his parents without even knowing it. Oh, it touches my heart every time.
My number 4. It takes a classic childhood book and brings it alive on the screen right before our eyes. It's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. He not only has a talking monkey named Steve, and the only reason he talks is because he gave him a collar that allows him to speak, but it takes a tale about this poor rundown island that just eats sardines 100% of the time. He brings them real food. Does it have consequences? We'll get there later. The important thing is he feeds a starving island people.
I'm going to take what Lord and Miller started in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and perfected in the Lego Movie for number 4. The Lego Movie, as I said before, has no business being as good as it is. There are so many moving pieces to it, no pun intended, that build upon this world, that we see character upon character that should not work together, and they complement each other. It has an outstanding cast, an outstanding plot, and really good themes to kids. It really promotes positivity and creativity.
Okay. I am insulted that you said that the Lego Movie needed to be way higher on the list. And then here you are at 5 to 4. Are you serious? Absolutely not. Kubo and the Two Strings, do you know how much work goes into producing a movie like that? And a movie that, even if you aren't familiar with pop culture, this is like a universal story. This story has real characters. It has a mother that is removed and a son that has to care for her. And then you have this son, you get to see him find joy with these two people that he's never gotten to know. Unbeknownst to him, they actually are his parents. Like, you don't get that kind of you don't get that in the Lego Movie. You just get a bunch of flash and trash action, and yeah, it's great, and yeah, it's fun and funny, but you're not getting this is art.
Flash and trash action? I'm sorry, Dylan.
No, Tim, you may have the floor.
This cannot stand. Steven, everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. Everything is awesome.
Everything would be awesome at number 5.
The dream. I hand the floor to Dylan.
I mean, I would like to take something that is not only wholesome, not only builds up your family, is also a little bit of flash and trash. And who doesn't love a little flash and trash, people? Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. It's got everything you could possibly want. It's got a lovable pet character. It's got a protagonist that's just trying to help everybody out, but also, like I said before, trying to find his way in the world. That seems to be a theme for my list this time around. His father isn't accepting of him. The townsfolk thinks he's a little bit out there, but he just keeps doing what he knows he should be doing. And yes, he learns his lesson later on when the whole town ends up covered in food. But he was just trying his best, everybody. He was just trying to feed the people. And God damn it, can you even imagine eating sardines for your entire lifetime? We have no idea the kind of psychological consequences that could come from
Your movie,
simply
I'd like to
Your movie walked so mine could run. Phil and Lord.
I think that's an argument
Lord and
for
Miller.
it.
Your movie ran so mine could fly, but I want to address the elephant in the room here. That the protagonist of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is essentially Linguini from Ratatouille. That they took and put him in a more childish, less perfect, beautiful story.
I mean, the book came first. The Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs book was long before the movie Ratatouille. We all know this. It's simply the adaptation. It just happens to align because there's some food and some animals.
Kubo and the Two Strings? A little long.
A little long? Are you kidding me? I will sit in those visuals for as long as you want.
What's cool is visuals and giant food.
Like a movie, flawless runtime. There's not a dead moment of air in that thing.
I will never, and I mean ever, hear disrespect for the big OG Flint fucking Lockwood. That being said, it's like a movie.
Wow. Not airing, I didn't have a real argument against Kubo. It's such a beautiful movie. So I just decided to go with a little long.
It's a great movie, Steven.
I'm going to give a slightly hot take here. This is a little low than you might think it's going to be, but I'm going to give the one, the only, the pillar that this industry was built on, arguably. I'm giving Shrek. Shrek is a beautiful movie. It is a children's book that is made better in every way. It's a movie that's arguably funnier for the adults, but can still be watched by the kids. It has so many lovable characters. It returned so many people's careers. Eddie Murphy rebuilt his career on Shrek. Mike Myers, you could say the same. It has become a meme that has lived on long past its time, and I think Shrek is a wonderful movie. I love it to death, but I think there are two.
I think your time is up.
My number 3, it's not as good as Shrek. I will start with that, but I'll also say Shrek deserves to be way higher. We'll get to that in the next round. My respectable number 3 pick is Despicable Me. What is not tolerable but Despicable Me? You've got these tiny little minions characters that don't even speak real words. That shouldn't even work, but it does. We've got a lovable anti-hero in the movie that is just thrown into having to just raise these kids and figure out what he's going to do. But also, he continues...
Time is over.
Oh, very well.
I have at number 3 where it rightfully belongs, Kung Fu Panda. Okay, and I would advocate that we need to pop Kung Fu Panda out of 5. We need to put Fishtails in there because that movie deserves to be on this list. And we need to move Kung Fu Panda up to 3 because Kung Fu Panda, it's one of the best unlikely hero stories. It's timeless, right? You're not going to have people in 25 years that are not going to understand the plot of this movie. And also,
you're out of time.
Tim, I'm just going to start by saying all of your arguments provide such a strong argument for why Shrek should be way higher than 3.
Wait for my 1 and 2, baby. You don't even know what's coming. You won't be able to argue against my 1 and 2.
It doesn't matter what's coming, Tim, because hear me out. What is the first movie you think of when you hear non-Disney animated? It's Shrek. It is always Shrek. It will always will be
You wait for
Shrek.
my number 1. You'll be happy.
Every argument you made, it rejuvenated people's careers. It gives us lovable memes and lovable memories, not only as a child, but you can rewatch it as an adult.
There are 2 better movies than Shrek. First of all, Steven, you said Fishtails?
Yeah, put it in 5. I'm sorry, thank you, Shark. Shark Tales, yes. But okay, I have something to say against Shrek, but it's not what Dylan says. And all I have to say about the argument for Shrek is Shrek 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait.
I don't even want Shrek on this list because I think that Shrek 2 puts Shrek 1 to shame.
Yes, it does, Steven.
But you know why?
Ergo,
one has
therefore,
to build the layer to get to Shrek 2. You can't have Shrek 2 without Shrek 1.
Which is why it should be at number 3, because Shrek 2 will build on it in every way a sequel can build on an original film. It is arguably the perfect sequel. Let's talk about Despicable Me. Despicable Me, you're wrong about the minions. They're just annoying. I'm sorry. What?
They're a money grab.
They are a money grab. They're annoying. They're not funny even a little bit. I don't.
They steal the heart of the movie. Tim.
Tim, then it's a bad heart. It's a rotten heart. Okay. The Despicable Me feels like a money grab. The entire thing does. I don't really like it that much. I'm sorry if I'm breaking your heart. I think the whole thing is just like that's the thing that parents get really annoyed that their kids are watching. And it's not really like, you put the babysitter puts that on and says, shut up and watch this for a few hours.
It's a gross misuse of Stephen Carell.
Oh, I love it.
Ooh,
Kung Fu Panda's really good where it is, Stephen. I feel like I've made this argument before. It's respectable, and it's not a better movie than Shrek.
It's definitely not a better movie than Shrek, but arguably Kung Fu Panda could be 3, and Shrek could, as I keep saying, should be a lot higher.
As I keep saying, the time is up. I will say I value Steve Carell as much as I value Despicable Me. They are equal. But this is going to be Shrek.
Didn't know if I was taking that one.
I hate that I'm saying this, but Shrek 2, I believe, should be our number 2 movie. It builds on Shrek 1 in every way. For all of the things that Tim said last round, it's an incredibly successful sequel, which is really rare. The comedy is in the environment, it's in the characters, it's in the dialogue. It is hard hitting. If one joke doesn't land, the next 5 will. It's an absolutely incredible movie. They managed to parody so many things at the same time and still feels cohesive.
Hey, Tommy. I'm going to come in at number 2 with a classic origin back to our past, which I guess all these movies are. It's Iron Giant. Iron Giant, it's a great classic non-Disney cartoon that brings about a little kid and a giant robot that should have been on the robot episode, but it wasn't. So I thought it needed a little love and had to get put in this one. So Iron Giant, number 2. My argument will commence next round.
Stephen, I have a feeling my 1 and your 2 are going to be, our 1 and 2 are going to be reversed because I'm going Into the Spider-Verse for my number 2 spot. Into the Spider-Verse is it might be a perfect film. It is beautiful to look at. The animation style is out of this world. It's a comic book 2-screen. It's an origin style that you have seen. It's an origin story that you've seen before, but done better every time. It builds upon itself. The cast is amazing. I could go on and on about this movie. The soundtrack!
Ooh, can I start this next round with a heartfelt apology to not only Tim and Steven, but everybody watching? I am a goddamn fool.
Can confirm.
I can't. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, and I left off Spider-Verse.
No,
wait, that's your apology? Your apology is not that your pick is not a computer animated film and it's a cartoon?
Thank you, Stephen. That is a 2D cartoon, and also I'm sensing an obligation pick. I don't think he actually likes that movie because that movie's kind of boring.
Okay.
He just felt like he had to put it on the list because it was grandfathered in. No, I'm sorry. I'm not pulling my punches here. Into the Spider-Verse deserves to be this number 2 spot. It is amazing in every single way.
Shrek 2 deserves to be on this number 2 spot. It is absolutely amazing in every single way. And if we're going to talk about aesthetics, Kubo and the Two Strings is far prettier to look at than Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's apples and oranges a little bit. Yeah. However, you're not going to put Kubo on there and everything that went into making that. You can't consider that as an argument for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I would argue that Shrek, it's outside of the superhero genre. It appeals to more people. The superhero genre kind of is a little more niche than something that is as broad as fairy tales. So if you're going to talk about a really good movie, and they're on par in terms of plot, then you got to take Shrek over Spider-Man.
But by being a sequel, it's already a niche audience. You're not losing anything. You're already taking the Shrek audience, and that's a niche audience in itself, just like being a superhero. You're also not attacking one of my arguments. I never attacked the art of Kubo and the Two Strings. I would never attack that art. All I said against Kubo and the Two Strings was that it was a little long, which you cannot say about Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse moves flawlessly. It's so good, and it takes a character that you love to death and does things with him that you'd never expect and could turn the audience against you, but they just earn your respect and love so much and give you a new, fresh-faced, wonderful character and just give him the best origin of all time.
It's a beautiful movie.
It might be
Judge, I love that movie, but I need to make a direct appeal to you and say, does Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse contain a medieval parody of the show Cops?
It does not. So that
Right, it doesn't.
that
So
should
stop
go a
talking.
spot
That's it.
higher.
That's it.
That-
No.
If that exists truly, that should go a spot higher. If that wonderful thing that is so funny.
No, because the number one is just an indisputable. There's no. I won't hear otherwise. I will not leave your friend if my number one does not make it onto the list.
You know what's also undisputed? There's no time left.
How did I forget Into the Spider-Verse? I feel like
I forgot it too.
You had that number 2.
You put Iron Giant.
Listen, I
If you
forgot
want
about
to
the
obligation
Spider-Verse.
picks, watch the Super Sidekicks episode. That's half the list. This will go to Into the Spider-Verse. Soundtrack won it. You know how hard it is to beat a Shrek soundtrack? And it did.
Damn near impossible.
The clear number one pick of the best computer animated movie of all time is undisputably Shrek 2. Shrek 2 is the best sequel ever? It's a perfect movie. I mean, it's right up there with Empire Strikes Back. It takes what was built on it. Yes, it does, Dylan. You are discrediting a movie because it's computer animated. It takes everything that was built in the first one and rises it above. It's funnier. It has better story. It's more dramatic. It's more action-packed. It builds on the characters in every way. It is a character study. It adds new memorable
You're adding nothing new because your time's up.
Nice.
My number one pick, as it respectfully should be, credits the original, credits the tier builder that could even allow Shrek 2 to even grace the chance to be on this list. And it is Shrek 1. For all the arguments Tim previously said, and I'll get to come after Shrek 2 in the next round.
What do Ewan McGregor, Robin Williams, Halle Berry, Mel Brooks, Amanda Bynes, Stanley Tucci, Drew Carey, and Jay Leno have in common? They were all a part of the 2005 classic Robots movie. Okay, this movie has a political message. It is clever in every way. It's completely original. The world building is out of this world. Also, it was a 2005 movie. Right? This came out at the same time as.
Help.
Ooh, all right.
Okay, no, wait. May I real quickly?
You may.
Steven, I have so much respect for you for including 2005's Robots on this list, and I really appreciate your take. That being said, are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. And I think it's a shame that Shrek 2 is not going to end up on this list now.
I would have, if you had put Robots at like number 4, I think I would have yielded. Like, I think I would have like literally given it to you, but it is not a number 1 pick, sir. It's not. And Shrek 2 is a perfect movie. A Mission Impossible sequence, done by the Pinocchio, and then the Gingerbread Man, a giant gingerbread man Terminator, a better villain in the Fairy Godmother than
you are disrespecting Lord Farquaad.
I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, here's
Does
the thing,
Lord
though.
Farquaad sing "I Need a Hero" as an action sequence builds underneath
I
it?
mean, the only thing is, Tim, is that Shrek 2 is great. Shrek 2 wouldn't exist if Shrek 1 wasn't the movie it was. You aren't going to have not only like the return to watch the second movie, but you wouldn't have a second movie at all if Shrek 1 wasn't what it was. You need to build up to be able to have such a great sequel. And that's why it was such a great sequel, is because Shrek 1 was so good. People are like, you can't get any better than Shrek. And they did it with Shrek 2. I'm not denying. Shrek 2
Wait, but you just said they did it. They got better.
No, I'm saying you can't have Shrek 2 without Shrek 1.
Yeah, but you're giving it a respect nod, which I already did when I gave it the number 3 spot. Shrek 2 is the better film.
I'm saying Shrek 2 is what it is because of Shrek 1. You can't have Shrek 1 was so phenomenal. No one thought you would even get close to that. The fact that Shrek 2 was almost as good as Shrek 1 was
No one's arguing that, though. Everyone is saying that Shrek 1's a great movie, but we're also saying Shrek 2's the better movie, and we get paid respect to Shrek 1, and so now it's time to give the respect
I think
to
when
Shrek
you
2.
look
I need to pop in here.
Yeah.
Tim's right on this all the way. I need to just say out loud right now that we need to pop Happy Feet off the list and put Robots down there. If you guys are going to put it at 1, it needs to be on this list. That movie was ahead of its time. It has a political statement. It was incredibly funny and heartwarming. That movie needs to be on this list somewhere. Shrek 2, I'll give it to you. It's a fantastic animated movie, whatever, but Robots needs to exist somewhere on this thing.
If the
And
judge
the only one I can bump is Happy Feet.
if the judge agrees to these terms, I agree to these terms.
I'm fine with that. Robots is a great movie. I'm not
Robots
denying it.
is awesome.
I don't think it's 1.
I will allow it.
Thank God.
But talk to me more about Shrek 1, Dylan. But no, because it's Shrek 2, idiot. At number 6, we have Robots.
Thank God.
At 5, we have Kung Fu Panda. At 4, we have everyone's favorite little pain machines, the Lego Movie. At 3, we have the foundation layer that is Shrek. At 2, we have maybe the second best movie of 2018, Into the Spider-Verse. And now at number 1 is undisputed. We have Shrek 2. Steven,
This is a rough game.
you had 1 for Robots. I gave you Dylan's point. Oh, no. Happy Feet was yours too, right?
Yeah, I didn't do anything on this list. Not a 1.
Steven, you swapped out your points at 6. And then Tim wiped the board with you the rest of the way.
I have never won before, and I am so excited.
You played 3 times.
I was out of my league in this game. Out of my league.
You came to play today, dude.
Yeah,
I was woefully underprepared.
I was like
comparison.
sitting in the mirror this morning, being like, I've never won. Today's the day.
Today's the day.
All right, so that's our show. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had as much fun as we did. Steven, I want to give you a big thank you for joining us. I hope you come back sometime. Wink, wink.
Absolutely.
It's a great time, Steven.
Did I hear a wink wink?
Thank you, Tommy, for being a wonderful judge this game. We'll have to have you back sometime on the show.
Maybe, if you're
Maybe.
lucky.
Dylan, thank you, as always, for your wonderful help in
There's
this.
better luck next time.
Yes. Remember, guys, like and subscribe to the channel if you want more like this. Also, leave a comment below telling us what your top 6 list is for the best computer animated films of all time. I have to warn you, it's not gonna be official because this is the official top 6 list, but we'd still love to hear your thoughts. So, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.